Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Tuesday night and here I am with a sketch challenge for you. Hello, Betty. Oh, still not that warm in Calgary. Hey, Dawn and Tam, welcome. So tonight is the sketch challenge, as I always do. This is, let's say, a pretty easy sketch challenge. It's a great way to use up designer series paper. I think I say that a lot because that's often my goal with the sketch. But you could do it in different ways. You could use cardstock, you could emboss it, you could do all sorts of things with this, I think. But yeah, my intention is to use some designer series paper. All right. Hey, Catherine, welcome. So I'm going to switch over. Now, this sketch will go live on Instagram and Facebook as a picture in about half an hour. So if you miss anything, any of the measurements, you can get it on there. So pretty simple sketch. So you've got 3 strips. This could be designer series paper. It could be embossed cardstock. It could be specialty paper of some sort. Could be even designer series paper that you've created yourself. Hey, Lisa, welcome. And then you've got so your card base is 5.5 by 8.5 or 4.25 by 11, kind of standard. I didn't include a layer number 1, which is usually 4 inches by 5.25, but if you wanted to, you certainly could. Then you need 3 pieces. Those are the blue ones of 1 inch by 5.25. One piece of this kind of orangey yellow is 1 inch by 4 inches, and then a circle or some kind of shape that I said is about 2 by 2. Now, if you want to put a sentiment on that you're going to stamp on basic white, then use a scrap and do that. I'm actually going to stamp it on this piece that's 1 by 4. At least that's my plan at this point in time. Hey, Darlene, welcome. Okay, so let's get started. Now, I'm going to use the Seaside Bay bundle. I love this one. If you were part of our stamp camp, hopefully you love this one as well. Just this little sandpiper is my absolute favorite. And then, of course, you have the dies to go with it. You have some extra dies that cut out kind of the plants. This is some really pretty ones that cut out shells. A little piece that will cut out some, I guess it's kind of like a sandy beach. And then this is such a pretty one, if I can get it, that cuts out an oyster shell that you can put a pearl in. Hey, Deborah, welcome. And then the embellishments that go with this suite are these flat adhesive backed pearls. So they're perfect for putting inside that oyster shell. Okay. So let's get my dies out of the way. I don't want to lose them because I will need them in just a minute. Get my cardstock. Okay, so here's my cardstock. I'm going to use Night of Navy. And I got a piece that's 4.25 by 11. Oopsie, dropping things. I'm going to score it at 5.5. And if I can find my bone folder. So this is the side I scored on, always fold into the raised line or the mountain. Ah, no, dropping. Goodness sakes, there it is. Drop my pieces of designer series paper. All right, there we go. It's card base. Now, like I said, if you wanted to put a piece, hey Joy, if you wanted to put a piece of another layer on here, you absolutely could. It would be 4 inches by 5.25. But I thought this designer series paper, this is my favorite of the designer series paper. Now, I cut it from one piece of that was 3 inches by 5.25. And you'd think I should be able to figure out how it actually, there we go, goes together. Maybe like that. Well, this one I think goes over here. There, yeah, okay, there we go. So we've got 3 pieces, and really what we want to do is, I thought if you put them so that they were kind of evenly spread across, it doesn't have to be perfect, but kind of like that. And I'm just going to take, actually, before I do that, I thought I'd emboss the front of my card base. This is, I think it's called, gosh, I should have looked this up. It's the shell one. It's a really pretty embossing folder, and I thought this would go really well. So I'm just going to take and run this through my embossing folder. Now, because I'm using the 4 1/4 by 11, it's going to be kind of upside down to what the embossing folder is, but I think that's okay. Just going to grab my Stamp and Cut and Emboss. Try to get even in there. It's kind of slipping around here. All right, now is my plate. Yeah, I thought maybe just having some embossing behind it. This might be the wrong embossing folder, but ooh, what's going on here? I know. I've got an extra plate here. So this is a hybrid embossing folder, so you need platform 1 and 4, and I had an extra one, so let's get this. There we go. All right, I'm going to need this in just a minute, so I'll just put that behind me. And then hopefully you can see how pretty that embossed image is. So I just thought that might just look nice kind of behind it. There we go. Okay, so I think that was my middle piece. Yeah. Don't know that it really matters. There we go. Get them in the right order. And then you really can't see that embossing behind it, so I'm not sure why I did that. But anyway, it seemed like a good idea at the time. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put my middle one down first. And if you wanted to use all three different designer series paper, you absolutely could. But I'm going to use all the same. So I'm going to roughly put this in the middle, and I really am not measuring this. So I'm just going to kind of roughly put it in the middle. I'm eyeballing like that. Now I wouldn't use, and now I'm not going to press that down heavy until I kind of get this one on, and then I'll shift the two together, or I'll, let's see, is that the right way? No, that's the right way. There we go. Then I'll kind of move them so I've got the right, yeah, that's pretty good. I've got this roughly the same distance between them in the middle and then on the edge. If you want to measure them, absolutely go for it and measure. But that's my favorite. Oh, Seashells 3D. Thank you, Betty. Yeah, I should have looked that up. Okay, so there's the card base. Now, I am going to, it's been a long time since I've done this technique, but somebody asked me the other day how they could get, how you could emboss, heat emboss using embossing powder, getting a color. Now, it used to be that the ink pads I used, and this was before my Stampin' Up! Days, they didn't dry as fast as the Stampin' Up! Ones did, or do. So I really want this to be in Balmy Blue. Now, I'm not sure that this is going to, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm not sure if this is actually going to turn out or not, because I probably should use white. So let's think about this. Okay, let's take this off. Let's use white. I will cut it out, and but I'll show you how it's done with white, because you're not going to see Balmy Blue on Night of Navy. So if I take this piece of designer basic white cardstock, and I'm going to just put it, I've got grid paper on here. Hey Kim, welcome. Oh gosh, yeah, you guys, I'm so sorry you're having such a rough winter with that cold weather. All right, so I'm going to put this in the same place, because what I want to do is position it in exactly the same place again. So I'm going to take my this, I'm using the one that says Heartfelt Sympathy. So I'm going to take that and just position it on the edge there. So I'm using my Stamparatus because I want to be able to stamp this twice. If I tried to stamp it using the Balmy Blue, and then put the clear embossing powder on it, so I see the Balmy Blue, it dries so fast that I haven't been really successful at that. So what I'm going to do is stamp it in Balmy Blue. So I've got my heartfelt sympathy. Now let me get a baby wipe just to wipe that clean. So what I want to do now is clean that off, and I'm going to stamp it using Versamark. So now I'm stamping over top, and because I have my Stamparatus and I haven't moved where my paper was or where the stamp or the stamp was, I have the Versamark right over top of the stamped image or stamped sentiment in Balmy Blue. And now I'm going to take, now this is clear embossing powder, which means you guys can't see that, but I think I've got that covered with embossing powder. So now I'm just going to take this and heat it until it goes shiny and clear. Hopefully this will work. Yep, okay. Now this may be hard to see, but you will definitely, if you got this card, there you go. Turn that off. Just gonna let this dry for a minute. If you received this card and touched it, this is now embossed, and it looks like it's embossed using Balmy Blue. So if you're going to, if you want to emboss using a color, and we don't have any colored embossing powders. We've got the basic ones, the clear white and black, and then we've got the metallics in copper, silver, and gold. But we don't have the colored ones like we used to. And so this is a way to be able to emboss, looking like it's embossed in whatever color you've stamped in. So stamp your sentiment or whatever it is in the color you want, stamp it again using your Stamparatus. Make sure you use your Stamparatus because I couldn't stamp that exact. So use your Stamparatus and then and ink it up with Versamark, and then sprinkle it with the clear embossing powder, and you will be able to, it will be embossed. Hopefully that made sense. Let's cover these up. Somebody asked me how to do that. And like I said, I used to always be able to emboss in over the colored ink pad, but our Stampin' Up! Ones dry so quickly. All right, so there I've got my piece that's 1 inch by 4 inches, so it's going to go on like that. I cut a circle out of Balmy Blue using the, I think this is the second largest of the Stylish Shapes circles. So I'm going to put that there. But before I do put this all together, I want to stamp my bird, my little sandpiper. So I'm just going to stamp that in Tuxedo Black. I probably could have stamped it in Memento or in Night of Navy, but I'm going to just stamp it there. So now I'm going to take and I am going to do some coloring. I'm going to do kind of his belly and maybe some of his wings in Balmy Blue. And then I'm going to go over it in Crumb Cake. This is the light Balmy Blue. And then I'm going to go over it with kind of light Crumb Cake. Ooh, my Crumb Cake Stampin' Blend is coming close to the end of its life. There we go. Okay. Now, somewhere dies. So let's take the little sandpiper die. Now this sandpiper die actually will cut out a sandpiper from the designer series paper, as will some of the shell ones. So check that out, because the designer series paper has some great images on it. All right, so now I need this platform, and then one of the number ones, and image, and then that. So if you wanted to, you can, with your sentiment, I always fussy cut my sentiment. So if you don't want to fussy cut your sentiment, you can use a die or a punch, or just cut out a rectangle that would fit that sentiment beforehand. This when I saw this suite in the catalog, I knew this is one of my favorites. I was so happy when we used this suite in February, I guess it was, and we did the stamp camp with the Creativity Abounds team. Oh my gosh, Johanna, hot and humid. Gosh, yeah, it's getting to be spring. It felt so lovely out there today here on the West Coast. All right, so I'm just going to take this and just cut so that I don't have this big piece of paper. And because I'm going to put this on that night of navy, I'm just going to fussy cut around. You don't have to do this, but maybe I've converted you to fussy cutting. Maybe not. Or fussy cutting a little bit. So tomorrow, Stampin' Up! Demonstrators get to see the new annual catalog. We are all so excited. At least I'm excited. The new colors, the in colors, and of course, you may have heard that there's going to be a color refresh. So we're very excited about that. All right, I'm going to stamp using Crumb Cake. There is this image that has the seashells and the sand, and I love this. I'll show you what it looks like. Let's just, because I want to make sure I've got it going the right way. So it's got the little seashells. So I'm just going to take and stamp this kind of at the bottom of my circle, and then I'll put my sandpiper over top of that. Okay, blue. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to put this flat because I'm going to pop up the rest of it, the circle and the bird. So I'm going to put this down here like that. And then we'll use dimensionals. So let's get the sand going the right way down at the bottom. And then the little sandpiper. There is one of the stamps that is the little sandpipers that could just go running across your card. Okay, so now I'm going to use the mini. I've got some here. Yep, there they are. The mini dimensionals. So what I'm going to end up doing is part of this is going to go on to the blue circle, and then part of this will be popped up. So I'm just going to take and put the mini dimensionals, because it's quite narrow across there. And then I'm going to put just a little dot of glue on this very left-hand side, because it's going to be adhered to this blue circle, just because I don't want it going across the edge of the card like that. All right, so before I put my embellishments on, I cut out a little piece of designer series paper to go across the bottom, but since I can't find it, I'm going to use and that's true, it does. Not intentional, Darlene, though. Darlene says my nail polishes match as part of my card. Yeah. All right, this is my favorite stamp. I've said that. I just love these little seashells on the sand. So since I can't find my piece of designer series paper that I I cut to go on the inside of the card. You watch, I'll find it as soon as I go off air. Okay. So then this can go on the inside. I love crumb cake and Night of Navy together. All right, now, oh, you know what I did? I grabbed some of, this is the ribbon that goes with this suite. It's the blue, balmy blue and white variegated. And I was actually going to put that behind my sandpiper, but because I've stamped behind it, I don't think it needs it. But I am going to put some of these great pearls on because they're just so pretty. There we go. Okay, where's my card? Now somebody asked me today or left a comment on one of my blog posts where I said that I had created the card using a sketch. And somebody said to me, do you create, which comes first, the sketch or the card? And I'm going to say 90% of the time, the sketch comes first for me. I create the sketch. I may have an idea of what stamp set I'm going to use, but I create the sketch and then I kind of figure it out closer to the time I'm going to go live. So not very often do I actually have a card made that I create the sketch from. So just something, if you wondered how these sketches came, often I kind of just think of a sketch or I look at a card that I got as in a swap and take a, kind of take some of the ideas for the layout. But yeah, so the card actually comes together during the live. So sometimes, like I said, it comes together. I've said this before, it comes together better than others. Sometimes things in my head are a good idea, but doesn't actually come through very well. All right. Yes. Thanks very much for giving me a thumbs up. If you are on my Facebook page, if you're coming in through my Facebook page, you could feel free to share the video out if you want to. I'd love to get some more subscribers on my YouTube channel as well as more followers on Facebook. Hey, Felicia, you can watch the replay. Yes, I love this suite. Don't forget to take a look at it. It's just so cute. All right, everybody. Now I will, I'm taking a cookie decorating class. I'm so excited. I finally found one that I can take. So that's Thursday night. So I will be live. We'll post a video on Thursday night with a technique in it, but I will not be live doing it. So it will look like I'm live, but I actually will have pre-recorded it. So hopefully you'll join and watch. Leave your comments and I'll go in afterwards and answer any questions and comments. But yeah, I'm so excited about this cookie decorating class. It's been a long time in trying to find one to take. So I'm taking one on Thursday night and one on April 8th. And then I hope I'm all set to be able to make some cookies. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you have a great evening. Happy stamping. Bye.